Hi everyone, this is Kyle. I haven't made a whole lot of videos over the last few weeks. Between holiday season and other stuff, I've been a little busy. But hopefully, starting now, I'll be putting videos out regularly again. I did order a new microphone, so once I get that, once I figure it all out, then hopefully that improves the audio. I mean, one thing I am trying to work on is I'm trying to make my videos a little higher quality, so for the last few months or so, I've been using a clip-on mic, and having an actual mic I think should improve the audio a bit. I am working on an outline for another video I want to do where I say how I would have handled the Disney Star Wars trilogy. I don't know when that video is going to be out. I'm still at the very beginning of working on that, so I really don't have a timetable. But that's definitely at least a good couple weeks or so away, maybe more than that. We'll see how things go. I mean, my videos typically have been just me reading news articles and commenting on them. Those are kind of easy. Whereas a video like how I would have done the Disney Star Wars trilogy, that's going to involve a little more scripting, a little more prep, and the video's probably going to have to be like some kind of slideshow or something like that, so there are a few things to figure out. And as time goes on, I do want to do a few more videos like that and a few less news videos where I'm just reading articles. But for me to be able to do that, I do got to still figure out some production-related stuff. So I'm on thatparkwayspot.com. We have a rumor Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's new Jedi Order film starring Daisy really does not have a script. And I had heard this before, that they don't have a script yet. There's also rumor that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to rush this movie out. And if she is trying to rush it out, I mean, it is certainly possible that everything is not quite ready the way she wants it. Alright, I'll read this over a little bit. A new rumor alleges that Stephen Knight, who was tapped to write a script for Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's new Jedi Order film starring Daisy Ridley as Rey, has not completed his script yet. And Stephen Knight was not the original writer for the script. The rumor comes from Jason Ward at Making Star Wars. Now folks, I used to go to makingstarwars.net back when the Disney Star Wars trilogy was coming out. Before The Force Awakens had come out. I was very interested in that trilogy, and I was looking up a bunch of rumors and things like that as to what they might be doing. And makingstarwars.net, they were doing I'd say a pretty good job of getting some inside scoops. Like, they knew probably a good year or so ahead of time that Han Solo was going to die in the movie, in The Force Awakens. But Jason Ward and people there, they were starting to make some political statements and things like that. And, one statement you tolerate, and then you get another, and you get another, and you get another. And then The Force Awakens comes out, and essentially he's saying that the people who don't like it just don't like female characters starring in movies, something like that. There came a point where I just said, okay, I'm not going on this website anymore. Star Wars Newsnet, another site I used to go on, but same thing kind of happened there. But Jason Ward, shared today, I was told that Knight hasn't got to get to it, the script. The scheduling starts are now aligned. Stephen Knight was simply the person that, if they picked up, who they could get in that moment, and then it never lined up. Ward clarified, not saying he's off of it, not saying he's going to write it or not going to write it, I don't know. He then shared his own thoughts, but if you wanted my opinion on it, I think Knight writing that movie it's either been moved to give Knight the opportunity to write it, or it's going to be a different writer. I mean, I know that's saying nothing at all. I realize I did say nothing just now. But those are really the two options that are going forward based off what we got, I think Ward added. This rumor comes in the wake of Lucasfilm announcing that Jon Favreau will direct the Mandalorian and Grogu film that is set to go into production sometime later this year. Yeah, I'm not interested in this movie. I mean, the Mandalorian, at least the first season or two, were probably the best thing that Star Wars has made under Kathleen Kennedy, but yeah, season 3, it sounds like it's all gone downhill. I mean, I stopped watching Star Wars after episode 8 and after the Han Solo movie. But I know the best moment in all of Disney Star Wars is Luke Skywalker appearing in The Mandalorian, which honestly is kind of sad. I mean, Luke appeared again in the Disney Star Wars trilogy, and, well, they had him milking an alien and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, what they did with Luke Skywalker in the Disney trilogy was unforgivable. It was previously believed that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's film based on Knight's script would be the first film to go into production, as a listing on Film and Television Industry Alliance's website stated that it would go into production in the United Kingdom on April 7, 2024. Yeah, about 4 months from now. Now, I'm on that website. I mean, the film's not going to be starting that quickly from what we understand. WDW Pro was saying that's actually going to be starting sometime in the summer. Whereas, yeah, the film is not ready to start in April, but Kathleen Kennedy, she's still rushing the film out. She's still rushing to try and get it into production, and summertime of this year, that's really only a few months after April, so make of that what you will. And down here you also have Damon Lindelof as a writer and Justin Britt Gibson as a writer. But here you have Stephen Knight So the original writers got replaced, and this is a pretty common thing, at least with directors. Kathleen Kennedy, she's hired a lot of directors for Star Wars movies and then fired them shortly after. You also have some Star Wars projects that are announced, and then we don't really hear much of anything about them. I mean, Rian Johnson was supposed to be directing a Star Wars trilogy. Have you heard anything about that recently? Because I haven't heard anything about that in years. Obaid Chinoy also seemed to hint that her film was coming soon, as she told CNN on New Year's Eve, "I am very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special, and we are in 2024 now, and I think it's about time we have a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away." While all indications seem to indicate that this new Jedi Order film would be the first Star Wars film to go into production since The Rise of Skywalker, there are rumors that Disney executives were terrified the film would end up like the Marvels. Yeah, and that was this story here. I did a video on this. And yeah, I think it's possible this movie could do bad as the Marvels, but the Marvels only made, $200 million, a little over that, so it's going to be pretty difficult for this movie to do worse than that at the box office. But I do think if anyone's capable of doing that, it's Kathleen Kennedy. Well, we'll see. The Brie Larson-led film only grossed $199.8 million at the global box office, according to the numbers, despite having at least spent $274.8 million on its production budget alone. Yeah, and I use Box Office Mojo for my numbers, and that last I saw, I haven't checked in a while, but last time I saw it was something like $205 million. The movie is clearly a massive loss for Marvel Studios and the Walt Disney Company. Scooper WDW Pro alleged, this guy's a real good source. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy is allegedly in a very big hurry to get this movie into full-on production. That includes trying to reserve locations very fast out of the strike, as well as getting everything tucked away and done and put into place. They want to move fast. Still, I am told not to expect this film out until at the very earliest late 2025, but almost assuredly 2026. That means that even when this comes out, it will still have been basically a decade since Disney made money with Star Wars. He then added, Disney executives are very worried about this because of the Marvels, and here's where that worry comes from. The Marvels is unlikely to break $100 million at the domestic box office. It's an unbelievable flop. It's just unbelievable. Now, what did the audience say about Captain Marvel for years? They said, we don't want to go see Captain Marvel. We went because you told us we had to see what was going to happen in our favorite movies. And then because it was not a good movie, now we dislike this character, he continued. And then the audience celebrated when Captain Marvel was not in the other movies very much. And then when Disney said, no, she's popular, here's the movie, go see it, here's the sequel, fans reacted poorly. And then he goes on, Rey is magnitudes higher than that. Because the way that Rey works is that when The Force Awakens came out, fans were told, you've got to go see this to see all your original characters that you love, and that didn't happen. And then they were told, you've got to go see The Last Jedi because you've got to see actual Master Luke training Rey, and that didn't happen. No, it sure didn't. I mean, what they did with Luke in The Last Jedi, I mean, that was unforgivable. And then they were told, you've got to go see The Rise of Palpatine because you've got to see how this actually plays out. We've got a super secret plan to make all this be worthwhile. Like, we're going to redeem all those characters, and then that didn't happen. Yeah, it was very clear after Episode 9, and I didn't see Episode 9 for the record. I was done giving Disney my money at that point, but it was very clear after Episode 9 that there was no plan for this trilogy, which is absolutely baffling to me. I mean, you're talking the most popular movie franchise out there, and if you're going to make a sequel trilogy for it, you're going to bring all the old characters back. Why would you not go in there with a plan? That's 3 big movies that people were forced to go see where their favorite heroes were desecrated and where Rey was elevated. And I think Disney executives know this could actually be worse than the Marvels, he added. Yeah, I don't think this movie's going to do very well. I mean, you're not going to have the original Star Wars characters that Star Wars fans love in there. It's going to be Rey having to stand on her own. And when she has to stand on her own, I think Kathleen Kennedy's going to find out that her Star Wars movies are not as popular as she thinks. The director for this upcoming Rey movie, she kind of hates men. There are quotes out there of that. And what we know of the synopsis so far, set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the sequel delves into Rey's courageous behavior to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor to 2 promising young students, a girl and a boy. As her training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities destined to emerge as the future leader. I mean, you have Kathleen Kennedy here, she's obsessed with female characters. You have a director here who kind of doesn't like men. You have a synopsis here where it says the girl that Rey's training is going to be extraordinary. It doesn't say anything about the boy. I mean, you look at all that, you connect the dots. I got a feeling this movie's going to be a bit anti-male. I got a feeling this boy in the movie is going to be evil. I mean, it's just speculation, but based on what we've seen Hollywood making over the last handful of years, it's a pretty good prediction to make, I think. It sounds like Kathleen Kennedy is rushing the film out, and it sounds like they don't even have a script yet, which, I mean, if you're rushing the movie out, it makes sense that not everything's going to be ready as quick as you want it. I mean, either they might have to delay this movie if this is the case, or they're going to just rush out the script and it's going to be an incoherent mess. But whatever happens, I don't think this movie's going to do very well. I think what's going to happen to Star Wars is going to be similar to what's happened to Marvel. Marvel movies were doing really well early on with Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Avengers, those people. And now that those characters are gone and now it's, She-Hulk and Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, people like that, Marvel's not doing very good. Star Wars, it made money in its Disney sequel trilogy, where you had Luke, Han, and Leia. But then as fans saw how those characters were treated, fans started to leave. I mean, Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9, the amount of money they made at the box office, it dropped with each movie. And now that those characters, Luke, Han, and Leia, are gone, it's just Kathleen Kennedy's characters having to stand on their own, and I think she's going to find out that Star Wars fans don't really like her vision of Star Wars. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you consider hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care until then.